Welcome, friends, to Empty Cloud Monastery. We are here this evening with Bhante Sumitta. And hello to Elaine. Good to see you, Roy. Hello, Venerable Melanyani, watching from her quarantine room here at Empty Cloud Monastery. Venerable just arrived from Sri Lanka. And hello to Rick, Roy, Denise, Kumu, Aaron, and everybody else who has joined us promptly this evening for Bhante Sumitta's talk. So without further ado, we can, I'll pass it on to Bhante, so we can start.
Samantha Chakravalesu Atra Gacchantu Devata Sadhangang Munirajasa Sunangtu Sagga Mokkadang Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadangtha Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadangtha Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Bhadangtha Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Idani satoca sampajānoti etha sarati ti sato Sampajanati ti sampajano Puggalena saticha sampajaññanca vuttang Tatha sarana lakkana sati Asammussana rasa Arakha paccupatthana Asangmoha lakkhanang sampajaññang Tirana rasang pavicaya paccupattanam ti. My utmost respect to the perfectly enlightened Samma Sambuddha, the noble doctrine of the Buddha, and the noble Mahasangha, the disciples of the Buddha. Hello everyone, dear Dhamma friends. Good evening to all of you. And also, if someone is joining from Asia, good morning to you. So, this is combined or kind of related series of Dhamma talk that we are going to work on. And hopefully these Dhamma talks will give some insight. Plus, I would like to say that we are still not expert, okay? Don't judge that, okay, we know everything now. We are still learning and we are still practicing, and you have to be really humble about that. So knowledge is one thing and practice is another, I guess. So it's really important that we do have knowledge and we try to improve our knowledge, and then accordingly we practice it. It really gives a big difference to our practice and to our realization in the true spiritual path. So I think the topic came up from the morning Dhamma talk by Bhante Sumitta. So it was about Ayasoma's suggestion, question. Her question regarding sati, sampajañña, and there was another one.
Appamāda.
Okay. So I think I would like to talk about a little bit about this. And so the word sati appears in the Tipitaka 7,173 times. I like to start with that, just to, give an idea how important that word is to all of us. And so the sati is explained in different texts. Visuddhimagga Tika, Atthakatha, and then again Niddesattha Saddhamma Pajyotika, and also there is another book I found. So there are quite a few books that talk about Parajika Khanda, Atthakatha. So here I found several definitions on sati and sampajañña. They are more or less the same, interconnected. So I would like to explain a little bit about that. And before that, shall we start with the meditation? We have the... It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, please. We will assume that we have that. Okay, as we are dealing with the sati and mindfulness and sampajañña and atapi, I think it will be very useful for us to practice a little bit of meditation, and let us try around 10-15 minutes of meditation. Please settle on your seats. And straighten your back and straighten your head. Keep one palm on the other and rest them on your lap. Also, you can rest them on your knees if you are more comfortable with it. And then gently and compassionately close your eyes. No rush. We do it with mindfulness, with sati. And then we take a good long deep breath. And then hold it for a few seconds before releasing it step by step. Very slowly again, no rush. Let's take a good long deep breath. This time it is intentional. And hold it for a few seconds, maybe 5-10 seconds. And then slowly release and relax. Should be also intentional. So you do it intentionally to release your tension and relax yourself, relax your body and relax your mind. And focus on your breathing, incoming and outgoing breath. And this whole Dhamma talk also will be based on this. So it's important that we practice with mindfulness. So when we breathe in, the incoming breath touches the nostril. And when we breathe out, the outgoing breath touches the upper lip. So our mindfulness is in between. Sati is in between. Just like a gatekeeper that observes everyone who is coming in and out. Please be mindful about every single breath To some, it can be longer breaths at the beginning. And to some who are more experienced in meditation, you can straight away find very subtle breath, whichever is fine. You let it happen on its own way, and just observe how it happens and what happens when you breathe in and out. Remember, it is natural breathing. Try to focus on every single breath. Don't worry about the background noises. Stay very clear about your breath. If you breathe long, recognize it, identify it as long breath. If you breathe short, recognize it, identify it as short breath. Meanwhile, if you hear some noise outside, just recognize it too and then come back to your meditation. It can also happen to you, your monkey mind, wandering mind. Mind can jump here and there. Recognize it. Don't panic. Come back to your meditation. Okay, with that intention, let us try this meditation for about a couple of minutes or so. Silent meditation. One more minute, please focus on every single breath. Okay, now let us take a good long deep breath and hold it for a few seconds. And then slowly release and relax. Let us rub our palms with closed eyes, focusing on the movement of our hands, palms, and also feeling the sensation, the warm sensation. When you feel warm, place the palms on your eyes. Take a good long deep breath. And then slowly release and relax. Still with closed eyes, let us keep our palms together close to our heart and say 3 times. Sadhu. 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 Now let us gently and compassionately open our eyes with a more positive energy and more compassion and kindness and positive attitude towards the world outside. Okay, so how was your sati? Good? Okay. So sati is explained as a gatekeeper, right? It's like a gatekeeper. It really helps us. Visuddhimagga and also Mahaniddesh Pali, and also the other book, it's Parajika. These are all Atthakathas. Actually, they explain this thing in really beautiful way. Idani satocha sampajanoti etta sarati iti sato. Sati means sarati. That means kind of memorizing. So when you have sati, you actually have a memory. Okay. And sampajanatiti sampajano, and that also gives you kind of an awareness. That is why it is called sampajana. In some other suttas, we also have sampajana in yoniso, explaining the word yoniso manasikara. I think these are some of the words maybe you need to be a little familiar with. So every single action that we do, we have to actually keep an eye, keep awake ourselves, be mindful. Like gatet hite nisinne sutte jagarike sampajanakari hoti. That's like when you walk, you remember that you are walking, and when you stand, you remember that you are standing. And when you sleep, you understand, you are mindful that you are sleeping. And when you wake up, you are mindful that you are waking up. Bhasite means when you speak, you are mindful that you are speaking. Even tunhi bhave means when you are silent, you are mindful that you are silent. Really beautiful. And this way, everything we do it with mindfulness. And in Saddhani Tepakarana, and here we have another explanation about that. Matugamena sadding raho manye thaya nisinnanti kukkuchang upadhatiti dhatusu chasa payogo veditabbo ettahi gamanang gabhang tanang titang nisinnang. So here again, we have to be so mindful that whenever we speak with someone, when we have a conversation with someone, we have to be really mindful and alert, and whatever we say, whatever we do, even whatever we think, we have to be mindful about that. And if we keep working on this as a habit, as a practice, that will be so much better for all of us in strengthening our sati. Okay, so this is an important practice. Let's say you want to practice in the morning with the meditation. Some of you like to practice in the morning, some of you like to practice in the evening, right? So if you wake up in the morning, you wake up with mindful eye. I am awake now, and then you wake up, and then you get down from your bed, and then you go to the bathroom, open the door, and then you open the tap and wash your face, and you do everything with mindfulness, and then coming back and then sitting on your cushion, do everything with mindfulness, and with the closing eyes also with mindfulness, sitting everything with mindfulness, and then it will become so easier for you to go to samadhi much more faster. So if you are meditating, remember you also have to do some kind of prior preparation. Like let's say you go to you have scheduled your meditation for tomorrow at 6 a.m. Go to a little bit earlier, you go to sleep a little bit earlier, and don't watch some maybe action movies or something. And so make sure your mind also calm before that, and also get rid of some of those technology, and then you also maintain silence, talking to yourself constantly, and that maintaining silence really be helpful. And then make sure that you do everything with mindfulness. This is a practice that has been done by so many hundreds and thousands of meditation practitioners, yogis, all the time. Remember, there is a word called muni. Muni means silence. Muni also means silence. So the Buddha also is called Muni. Remember Sakya Muni? So one meaning, very important meaning actually, it means silence. So that noble silence, we call it all the time. It's helpful for us to keep ourselves silent. And in Karaniya Metta Sutta, I remember appakicho is a word that we need to really, we are still a little bit too busy, I think. Yeah, we have to be a little bit more simple, and very simple lifestyle, simple food, simple talk, everything simple can make us more comfortable in our meditation. So these things are really, really helpful. So, and in another sutta it is said, asite pite khaite saite. That means when you eat, when you drink, or even when you go, uchara pasava kame means even when you go to the restroom, do it with mindfulness. When you go to the restroom, think of something else, or watch a movie or something, it's not what you're supposed to do. You have to do it with mindfulness. So when you are mindful of whatever we do, actually it helps us so much to come to meditation, to strengthen our meditation. So in many suttas, this has been explained. Thousands of suttas actually, and so many books discussing about this word sati. And sampajañña is another word. I think in a very famous Satipatthana Sutta, we have Atapi sampajano satima vinayi loke, right? Like Atapi means the one who is diligent, and sampajano means one who is alert or aware. And then satima means the one who is mindful. And sampajaññakari, you are aware of what you do. And then that person will keep working on different kinds of meditation. And it is also said, this is ekayano maggo satto sattanam visuddhya. These four foundations of mindfulness is a definite path to liberation. So it's really, really important that we know how important this beautiful word sati is. So tattha sarana lakkana sati. So that sarana lakkana means sati has the capacity to memorize or remember things, recollect things. And let's say like some people don't remember something very easily, you have forgetfulness. I think mainly because of today's busy lifestyle, people have forgetfulness, right? Those days we had very simple, we didn't have, like when I was little, we didn't have television. I haven't seen a television. And then we didn't know what television was all about. And we have never heard of computer, or we have never heard of cell phone. When I was very little, they came little by little later on. And those days it was very easy for us to, grasp things. When we were studying, we had very easy way to study. We just, most of the time we gain our knowledge through reading books. So it was really good. And so we kept reading, and we could remember things very easily. And I remember those days we used to listen to the radio. In the radio, what we also call wireless. And so we used to listen to some of those radio dramas. Whatever we see in the television series, movies and all, we used to listen to the radios. And I remember there was some legendary stories where the heroes, ride the horse, taka-takas, taka-takas, taka-takas. I remember those. And how beautiful it was. Like, we could close our eyes, we could listen to them, and we actually visualize the hero. And we recognize in our own imagination, oh, this is the person, like very handsome, good looking, all those dark, tall, handsome. We were just imagining ourselves those things. And then when they were fighting, or those archery, and all these things, we were remembering. And we tried to actually be creative in that. I felt it was really amazing. But when the television came, it was also called idiot box. Yeah, it made us fool. It made us idiot, because everything was projected. We were just super glued to that. We didn't have any creativity whatsoever. Whatever was projected to us, we were watching it. But when we were listening to radios, it was completely a different story. I think it was really, really cool that we have less equipment. It really helps. I feel it. We should go back to that. That's why in the monasteries, I like that idea. Sometimes you get rid of this equipment, really makes very helpful. And then the sati is also explained as asammussana rasa. Asammussana rasa means don't forget. So it's also very important. When we have sati, we remember things. You listen to something and you remember, you grasp it right away. Do you know Venerable Ananda, the personal attendant of the Buddha? When the Buddha said something to him once, he would grasp it right away. Doesn't have to repeat. He will remember it right away. That was his power of paramita too. So he was called Dhamma Bhandagarik. He was the treasure trove of Dhamma. So that is why so many suttas today, we have Evang Me Sutang, ekang samayang bhagava. Whenever we hear that, that was said by Venerable Ananda. So many thousands of suttas are there. So Venerable Ananda had a beautiful memory, he doesn't forget. And then another feature of sati is arakka pachupattana. It has a protective nature. Sati has a protective nature, and it protects us, our brain, our memory, everything, and our knowledge, everything actually protects us. It's an important feature again. And then the other one is asammoha lakkanang sampajañña. That means we don't get confused. Moha, ignorance, like asammoha, you don't get confused, you don't get ignorance, you become actually much more clearer in things. And tirana rasang, that means it helps us to take good decisions. So sati, let's say like you continue to meditate, you are a regular practitioner of meditation, and some of the decisions that you should take when you are calm, right? When you are restless, don't take decisions. Don't jump into decisions if you are arguing with someone. That makes like our mind uddhacha, restless. So when you are calm, when you are in meditation mode, or let's say you are thinking of, you are having some planning, when you keep meditating, with the meditation, you take a good decision. In life, if you make it a habit, you always feel, I took the right decision. You back up, you justify yourself with your right decision, because that tirana rasa is a part of sati. That decision making power is really, really empowering quality here in the sati. And then we have another one called pavichaya pachupattana. That is dhamma vichaya, also is part of satta bojjhanga. So vichaya, pavichaya is also the same. It has the investigation capacity. So capacity to investigate is another feature of sati. So we have sarana lakkana, asammusana lakkana, arakka lakkana, and asammoha lakkana, and tirana rasa, and pavichaya rasa. These are how many? 6 features are there. Explained in the Atakatha. There are some more little bit different, but I think they are more or less the same. For example, in another in Mahaniddes, I remember Apilapana Lakkana. I think it is also in Visuddhimagga. Apilapana Lakkana, like what do you call it? Apilapana, like popping up. So things easily pop up when you have good sati. So sati is a really, really important, very, very powerful thing. And so why sati is important? Because for our meditation, it is really important. Without sati, you cannot do anything. Our mind is just like, let's say, like a rest house, okay, a motel or something by the roadside. Let's say like you don't have any owner there, so you don't have any gatekeeper there. So what will happen? All the visitors would come, and they might even settle there. They would claim, this is mine, you know. So there is no one to take care of it. So our mind is also like a rest house or a motel without any gatekeeper. So many thoughts come to us. Anger come to us, jealousy come to us, ego come to us, then greed come to us, ignorance. So many different kinds of thoughts come to us. And if we don't have a record, track of it, what happens? They settle, because nobody is taking care of it. They settle, and they actually well settle there, and you don't know how anger can deeply settle in your mind, and you don't know what happened. When it happened, things like suddenly your doctor say, oh, you have got a cancer here and there, or you got like a back problem, you got like heart problem, your cholesterol is increasing, you have to take care of your food, like the sugar is too much. These are like already blown out of proportion. You can't really get rid of that, already too late. So some of these thoughts, defilements that come to us can really kill us bodily, physically, and then eventually mentally also we feel down. So sati is a really, really important thing. Whatever we eat, we be careful, right? Whatever we say, we be careful. Whatever we think, we be careful. And whichever action you do with mindfulness means you are really pretty safe. You have really good, what do you call, antivirus in that way. So you really have a strong shield for yourself. Sati is one most important thing, an alarming system. Like in our brain, we have something called, I think, amygdala. That is the word. That is an alarming system in our brain. If something happens, our this brain, this amygdala, really alarms us. Hey, something is happening to you. Something like that. This sati is such an important player in our life. So we have to really hold on to this and carefully work on that, and eventually it helps us in our meditation. How beautiful it is when we take care of our meditation, because let me, okay, over here. So let me say a few words and how this sati is important for us. And so another word is, I think, samadhi. Samadhi means, samadhi also helps us calm down and concentrate. Avikkepa lakkana, no vikkepata means you don't get kind of confused or restless. And so this avikepata actually develops our samadhi, and it doesn't shock anytime when you have samadhi. Like sometimes when we meditate, some people can have like crawling insects, something like that. Some feelings like that kind of feeling sensations can happen to some people when they meditate, because the samadhi is not strong. So that is not really good samadhi. Then samadhi also is important. From sati to samadhi, sukhino chittang samadhyati. So the proximate reason is comfort. So when you have good samadhi, you feel so comfortable, so happy. And sadness come to your mind when the samadhi is not established. Remember, whenever you feel sad means you don't have samadhi, right? That is another sign. You can take care of that. So then in anapanasati, let's go to that and try to see how this anapanasati can lead to our meditation. Anapanasati is really. Do you practice anapanasati? Anapanasati, or which meditation do you feel more comfortable with?
I do a lot of metta meditation.
Do you practice anapanasati? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Actually, anapanasati is quite a bit of challenging, right? It's not like metta bhavana. It's easier. Like while you're walking, also you can do that. I like to do that too. It's easier. You can practice like while eating, while driving, or any time, But this one, anapanasati, you can practice only when you sit. And maybe standing also you can do, but you can practice for a long time if you stand. So you have to keep your body straight for your respiratory system to work smoothly. So it is said, atapi, this has a feature that can burn the defilements. Okay, that is why it is called atapi. Atapi means that has the capacity to burn the defilement, and that is also why it is called diligent. And sampajañña means you also have the wisdom, you have the intelligence, you have the knowledge, you have the awareness. And then satima is the mindfulness. These three things should be there when you start your meditation. So every person who practices breathing meditation, or whatever meditation for that matter, you have to actually have these three things. Okay, so this is called, then it is called, so sato asasati, sato passasati. When you breathe in with mindfulness, with sati. And sato passasati, when you breathe out, you also breathe out with mindfulness. And actually, although this sutta says like dighang va asasanto dighang asasami iti pajanati, that means when you breathe long, you recognize you breathe long. When you breathe out and in, so it can be long, or breathe out and in, it can be short. These things can happen to people who are not so experienced. But for those people who are already experienced, they can easily go to delicate or gentle breathing right away. But it's useful to have that knowledge also. And then you also need to remember what we call, I think, parimukang satingupat. Parimukha means, it is explained as nasikageva mukha nimitteva. So nasika means nose over here. Nasika agga means the tip of the nose, and mukha nimitta is over here. It is also mentioned as ottassa majja padese. Otta means lip, so majja means the middle place. So over here, these two places are the 2 points that we have to focus on when we call parimukhang satingupattapetta. So somewhere in between, the air can touch. Okay, but some people have long nose, some people have short nose, so the air can be little different, but more or less the same. Okay, some people actually can, if you have maybe short nose, maybe your incoming breath can even touch your upper lip first, somewhere in between. If you have a long nose, I remember Bhante Balangoda Ananda Maitreya, he was a very famous monk in Sri Lanka. He had a really long nose. He had a really long nose, I remember. Yeah, so for them, I think it is definitely different. So parimukha is important again. So we should feel that naturally. We should feel that naturally where it touches. Okay, and you really need to know that it will be really helpful, and so that touch point of the air, asasa and pasasa, the incoming and outgoing breath, is important. And remember, these three things, nimitta, What is the nimitta? That is the air. Okay. And then asasa is the breath, incoming breath. And passasa is the outgoing breath. These three don't happen simultaneously. They will never happen simultaneously. It will happen, in different minds. So one has to feel this touch point very, very clearly when you meditate on Anapanasati. It should be very important. And this is also can be called parikamma samadhi. What is the Pali word, English word for parikamma samadhi? It's not patibhaga, I think, counterpart sign, right?
Preparation.
Preparation. Okay, so this one is really important. You need to feel where is the incoming breath touch. You need to feel it very clearly. Oh, this is where it touches. And then the outgoing breath, where does it touch? You also have to be really careful about that, really clear about that. This one is called parikamma samadhi. Okay, this is an important place for you. And maybe 5-10 minutes you can stay there. Try to recognize, try to confirm yourself. Okay, this is where it touches. And then keep improving. And some yogis feel that sometimes when you keep working on that, some yogis also can feel there is a light coming up. Yeah, they can feel it. And so they can also think, oh, I am now like, I'm in a higher jhana or something. People can say, but that is not really so. And it can also change depending on the place of meditation that you work on. Let's say like you meditate in a dark room, and then that light is different. That if that light comes, then it should be something coming out from your heart. Actually, it comes from the heart. It is said, and then it happens over here. And after a long practice, if you really feel that you have that light, constant light, and it should be not at the tip of the nose, and also it should be the breath. These two things should be together. And if you feel that light, that is called panya aloka, the light of wisdom. Okay. And it is also said when some people do that, the other people might be able to see some light, radiating light over here in third eye area. Some practitioners have reported such things. And so when you have the parikamma samadhi, and when you have the what we call uggaha nimitta, that is the different or gross objects you can see. You can see something maybe like some dark or some objects or something. When you keep meditating, you can feel some different color, something that is called uggaha nimitta. But the yogi doesn't have to pay attention to that. You keep meditating, you keep working. What is your main focus? Breath. So all these things can happen, but you keep focusing on your meditation object. Really important. And then only you keep more and more, and the thing, when it is more and more clearer, it is called patibhaga nimitta. Patibhaga nimitta only appears at the tip of the nose, and that aloka or the light, it again cannot be two. It should be only one. So this can happen only with the tip of the nose and your breath. And when you keep working on it, if you feel like, okay, at the beginning maybe it will be a very short time, maybe a fraction of a second, and it goes away, and you keep working on that, and then you will also get it more and more longer time. That will become an upachara samadhi. It can go to even appana or arpana or even jhanic sensations. So jhanic factors can also be there. This is called appana nimitta. And then you keep meditating, and then you will work on the other factors. And then the jhana, when we have jhana, it is said vitakka vichara piti sukha ekaggata. I think I will discuss more about that a little later, about the jhanas. But we also need to know people can have jhana in any time in your meditation, but you know that having jhana is difficult, definitely challenging, but maintaining it even more challenging. It's really, really more challenging. So there are 5 things that you have to work on that. Avajjana, repeatedly recollecting on your jhana. And samapajjana means repeatedly entering the jhana. You need to be able to enter the jhana repeatedly. And aditthana means you should be able to determine the duration. I'm going to maintain my jhana for maybe 1 hour or something, 2 hours something. You should be able to determine yourself. And Vuttana means you should be able to rise. Let's say, like, I'm going to meditate, have jhana for 1 hour, 2 hours, something. So at the end of it, you automatically wake up from the jhana. That is called Vuttana. And Paccavekkhana is the reflection. These 5 jhana vasita, that is called jhana vasita. You need to have these practices before going to improve any other jhanas. So with this, I think I would like to maybe stop. As I said, this is not the end of this series of Dhamma talk, and we will continue to cross-refer and relate these practices, and hopefully our practice during this Rains retreat would be really, really helpful, and may all of us be able to achieve some spiritual achievement during this Vasana season. Thank you so much.
Annamayang Dhammakataya Sadhukarang Dadamase
Sadhu, 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 anumodami. Thank you so much, Venerable, for sharing the Dhamma once again with us. So there is much gratitude also online. Many fans of Bhante Sumitta from the entire world, from Thailand, friends from Sri Lanka joining in, from Denver. And so welcome to everybody. And Roberto asks, Bhante, when you say being silent, do you mean not to think? No inner chatting? If so, how can we stop thinking?
Yeah, actually, if you can stop thinking, that means you are very good. That means you don't create karma. You should be able to do that also. But if the thought comes, you just recognize it. That's it. You don't have to. It doesn't happen overnight. So you work on that, and remember, at the beginning, you do not resist. Everything in this world, at the beginning, if you try to invent something, the whole world will oppose it. That is the very nature. Okay, so especially with the mind, you deal with the mind, you have to be really careful. Don't try to resist. The mind will be very aggressive. You don't know how mind can be very, very dangerous in that case. So just try to be friendly with the mind. You just send some signs. Okay, I'm not going to disturb you. I just recognize my thoughts. I do whatever, with mindfulness. Then the mind will not be angry. But if you try to resist, right? Okay, like Vitaka Santana Sutta, I'm not going to do this thing, that way. Then the mind will become little bit more aggressive. So don't make it that way. Try to become a friend, and then you can manipulate. You can actually control the way you want. Later, when the anger comes, you're not going to allow the anger to rise in you. Okay, if you have already anger, you are suppressing the anger. So that wholesome and unwholesome thoughts, you should be skillful in dealing with that later on, but not at the initial stage. Initial stage, you just recognize, oh, the anger comes. That's it. And the anger knows that there is a gatekeeper, so anger will come and go back and will not stay established. Same thing with the metta or loving kindness. Oh, I am so happy. I have loving kindness. You recognize it, and that will also may not be established anyway, but it will keep coming and going. So later on, which one to establish, which one you filter them. You filter them and allow some thoughts, wholesome thoughts only, to accommodate in your rest house. Okay, and the unwanted elements, you will keep them away. Yeah, but that is not at the initial stage. That should be the later stage.
Thank you, Bhante. And Rick asks, is heedfulness an act of will, or does heedfulness develop naturally by cultivating mindfulness and clear comprehension?
I think, yes, heedfulness and aditthana, virya, this appamāda, they are all part of it. I think it should be like the members of the same family, like sati, sampajañña, yoniso manasikara. They are all very, very helpful to each other. So the Buddha's last utterance also, like appamādena sampadeta. The Buddha said, to be diligent, work hard, and try to liberate yourself, and don't waste your time. That was the Buddha's last advice to us as well. So heedfulness, again, is really an important part.
Thank you, Bhante. And Kumu is asking, my amygdala is very active. Is anapanasati the best meditation for someone who's a little over anxious?
Well, I think anapanasati is not recommended for people who have like little weak mindfulness. If they are weak, anapanasati is not recommended. I think it's better to do something else. Weak mindfulness, with people with weak mindfulness, they better do something else. And like metta meditation, as I mentioned, it's easier. But anapanasati can eventually be a part of your meditation, and it can be really, really very, very important. And it should be an integral part of your meditation. I think it's a really, really good one. Like when you keep working on anapanasati, you recognize every difference, change that happens in your body and mind. If something happens, like let's say you have some food poisoning, or you have some headache, or you have some anger, you have some sadness, everything, whenever these things can happen, and your mind, your body changes. And anapanasati will also recognize it. And you will see how your breathing pattern changes. Your palpitation changes, and then amygdala will alarm you. Sati is really, again, important. So try to coordinate with these two things. It can save you. It can really maintain, help maintain your inner peace.
Thank you, Bhante. And Dulani asks, Apanasati Bhavana helps you focus your breathing. Typically, most people are not aware of how many breaths they take in every day. Practicing Anapanasati meditation can help you to distress too. Actually, it's not a question, it's a comment, statement, advertisement for Anapanasati. Thank you, Dulani. Gita mentions how Venerable Bhalangadananda Maitreya also was Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's teacher. And Vic says that he was also profiled in a documentary, The Long Search, The Footprint of the Buddha. I think that's on YouTube. I think I watched it. It's actually wonderful to see Venerable Nanda Maitreya speak. And there are some beautiful quotes in that documentary. I see a lot of nodding in the room.
I was just checking like how many breaths we take per minute. How many? Like 12 to 20? 12 to 20 breaths per minute. Interesting, right? And so maybe like per day, it's like 23,040 breaths per day. This is average. So you can imagine, like in our lifetime, how many breaths we take, and imagine how can we pay attention to all the 23,040 breaths every single day. It's really not so easy. But those great arhants, they would do it. They would do it. So they would be able to recognize even their last breath. It's so beautiful. Anapanasati gives you that privilege.
And Kumu says, Bhante, anxiety is only for safety and health of children as a mother. For all other things, mindfulness is there. There are not any more questions yet, but great.
3 questions.
Wonderful.
Oh.
Okay. So when I first heard about the gatekeeping, like that terminology, I was envisioning like in my nose like a Eastern gate and Western gate, and I was kind of imagining like trying to focus on like the flow for each gate, kind of. But would you say that's distracting, and it would be better like focus like here more?
It's the tip of the nose. Yeah. So it's only one. So when you have the breath, it touches somewhere, but you can recognize which one, which area is touched by the breath, incoming breath. So that is the entry point. Before entering the body, we get the touch of the air. That is the entry point. That is important. And it can change a little bit depending on. I think every single breath has unique identity too. You know, some can be longer, some can be shorter, but before that, beside that, there can be other variations too. You have to be aware of those things as well. What is your second question?
My second question was, sometimes I would try to combine walking meditation with breathing meditation by like going very slowly and then like coordinating like one step with like an out breath and then the other step with an in breath. But do you think that's also like not practical?
It is. I think, if I'm not mistaken, even those people who are like Olympic runners, they also focus on their breath. Like while running, they can also control their breath. That helps them run, and also they can sustain, their endurability. So it's good. But this meditation is more helpful when you practice with sitting. Walking can also be helpful to a certain extent, but not necessarily like the way we have it with sitting. think Anapana mostly practice in, as a meditation, we practice in sitting, but you can focus on your breath while walking too if you want. But the idea is actually to feel the sensation while walking, like the movement and the sensation, right? Yes, the third one.
Question was, I was curious if you could expand on the idea of the protection element.
Yeah, so how protective it is, we already know. Anger comes, you are aware of it, so it protects you. The anger will not stay in your mind. Anger will not lead to frustration, and frustration will not lead to aggression. Then it will go on, and also it can be hatred, it can be revenge, can be disastrous, right? So that detrimental effect is already averted when you are aware of that. The simple fact that anger, the thought came to my mind. Anger will come, yes, but it will go back. It will bounce back. Sometimes later on you will see they will not come. They will bounce back. Sometimes for maybe some people cannot spend a day without anger. Every single day they get anger. But you might later on notice like for days and weeks and months, no anger. How beautiful, right? So that can happen to you by mere practice, mindfulness. That's another advantage, benefit. And then again, this helps you maintain good health, maintain your good memory. And it can, as a student, you can improve your memory. And then as a person, you can be very pleasant person. You have good memory. And then you are also mindful. And also so many advantages. You are healthy, and very calm. You have your inner peace all the time, and so many benefits. Yeah, it's always really, really helpful. This is the shield. This is the shield, both physically and mentally. You have that shield in you. Yeah. Any other question? Okay. Now it's a matter of practice, right? Yeah. I know this is really important. Now it is time for us when we meditate. Focus on these things and then try to practice. Maybe I would like to actually say, like I even ask my new students to keep track of their thoughts, experience, like a spiritual diary. So how many, like the duration of meditation and what kind of experience you had, and they would like to share with me, and maybe if I can help with something that way. I think as for this basic beginners, I think it will be important. And yes, it is very important. We need to have a good guide and also be among good Kalyana Mitra friends. Very important. And listen to Dhamma talks also really important, so that we can expand our knowledge about the meditation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. And Vic asks, Bhante, would you comment on the phenomenon of the tactile nimitta, a touch like silk, cotton, or a drought?
I think
to
that
pronounce
is,
it, which has been mentioned in the Parisambhidamagga?
yeah, I think that is the one I was talking about, Parikama Nimitta something, right? So these are some of the early stages that those things can happen to you. Like as I said, when you keep meditating, sometimes you will feel something like a scratching, or maybe some clouds, or maybe some light, or different objects, or things like that can happen to you. I think this is what he was asking about, right?
Mm-hmm. And Rick asks, in deeper states of meditation, my breath slows and almost stops. I experience tranquility and joy, and my body seems to disappear. How do I open myself up to experiencing light?
Experiencing light, you don't have to expect. Like we are actually giving it up. So whatever happens, let it happen. It will come when it comes. You can't really, oh, where is the light coming? Where is the light? Where is the light? If you maybe expect, that itself will be a hindrance. You can't really expect that. Just keep working on your meditation. Keep working on your breath, incoming and outgoing breath. That will be really, and when the conditions are right, the light will appear. And even then, you will have to be again careful. Sometimes you feel so happy, sometimes you feel light, and then you still should not be carried away by that. Keep working on your meditation, and this is really important. Yeah.
Actually, Bhante, I have a question. So, yes. Would it be correct then to say, in terms of the differences between sati, sampajañña, and appamāda, so basically perhaps defining sati as the investigation capacity and appamāda as a sort of non-stop sati, since it means non-negligence, as Bhante Sudaso was mentioning this morning, and then sampajañña being usually translated as clear comprehension, so actually understanding what one is investigating. Would this be correct?
Sati, I think sati has that investigating capacity too, as I mentioned before, but that is only one. Sati has 5 more features. One is like investigation capacity.
Right.
Yeah.
But so then all the attributes of sati, but in relation to appamāda, would that be non-stop sati, or how would you relate the difference between? I guess that is what is kind of unclear to me, like the
so
mindfulness and heedfulness.
Appamāda is like you become diligent, you become more determined, you work hard, and that is what appamāda is all about, right? And do you have some different idea?
Like I said this morning, my understanding of appamāda is it's like right effort, like watching the mind to stop unwholesome things and cultivate wholesome things. To me, appamāda is right effort.
Yeah, so like be diligent, work hard. The Buddha also said, why he said that even at the very end of his life. That was the last word he said. Handadani bhikkhave ayamam tyami vo vayadamma sankhara appamādena sampadena. Monks, I'm addressing you for the last time. Appamādena sampadeta. Be diligent. Be whatever called appamāda. And that's really important because we have the tendency to feel sloth and torpor. These are like real big hindrances that we have. Because of that sloth and torpor, we can't achieve anything. You really have to, like in paramitas, there are 2 paramitas very important called adhitthana and virya. Okay, adhitthana is determined and virya is effort. So nothing comes to you as a cakewalk. You have to really work hard, and that's really important. Remember, the Buddha also, in just before his Buddhahood, he was sitting. It is called, I don't remember the word. What do you call it? Like, even if my whole body collapses or whatever happens to me, I don't really care. I don't wake up from my seat. I do not change my posture until I attain Nibbana, until I attain the Buddhahood. So this also, you see that sheer determination, that courage, that effort, all are again part of our practice.
So would you say that then, for example, the difference between then virya, so just being general, like, strength or application or effort, however the English word is, then would then appamāda have more to, I mean, is it directly connected with sati? So in the sense, perhaps what comes to mind is applying that in every circumstance. So recollecting, being the gatekeeper, both when it comes to sila, so like our actions, all the way to when we are in meditation and cultivating wholesome thoughts versus...
I think all these are, integral part of our practice. We can say this one alone, but they are all very helpful to each other. Appamāda is really, really important. And then again, virya, the sati, they can be mutually helpful to each other too. Like even for sati, you need to have that diligence. You need to have that appamāda. And in order to maintain your appamāda, you need the sati too, mindfulness, plus the other features of attributes of sati. They are really helpful to maintain our appamāda. And it can be very easily distracted if we are not mindful, if we do not be diligent, if we do not be really determined and enthusiastic about our spiritual goal.
Great. Okay, thank you, Bhante.
I don't know if I gave you the satisfactory answer.
It's everything is dependently arisen. Hence.
Yes, it will.
They're all interconnected.
Just so I understand it, sati without right effort wouldn't be the wrong kind of mindfulness. The wrong sati needs that right effort, as you were talking about earlier.
Okay, there are
like without it, it's just it doesn't have that supporting effort.
Look, this also we have to really mention that there can be samma sati, there can be miccha sati. So like right mindfulness and wrong mindfulness. Let's say a crane, a bird who is waiting for the prey for hours, like a meditation. A sniper gunman, would do the same for hours and days, but that's not really right mindfulness. It will arouse you greed, anger, and delusion. Then it will not be samma sati. So samma sati should never ever arouse any kind of unwholesome thoughts. Yeah, that's important. Like when you have that sati, those you will also be able to figure it out. Yeah, if some thought comes to you and then you are mindful, yes, these are initial applications, right? And then with the sustained application, like the right mindfulness, when you have that as the initial application, you should be able to sustain it, and that is called vitakka and vichara, right? And then only you have the piti, the rapture, and then you have the sukha, the comfort, and then you have the ekaggata, the one-pointedness, so unification of mind. Yeah, that's how different people interpret. Okay.
All right, I think that's all then for this evening. And Vic says, right view is necessary for right mindfulness. And on that note, I think we can all agree on that. So we can end with sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.